tokenization and digitization. How quickly should they think about digitizing their own currency? What does that mean for the role of the dollar? If every currency digitizes and we have, what does that mean for bank payments? What does that mean for the payment companies like MasterCard and Visa? All these are being questioned right now. I think we spend so much time talking about AI. We're not spending enough time talking about how quickly we're going to tokenize every financial asset and the opportunity we're going to have a digital wallet and moving ETFs and other things through a digital wallet. And I think that's going to happen worldwide very rapidly. And I think most countries are ill-prepared for that and underappreciate how technology is changing that, not unlike how technology is changing AI and other things. It will be changing the technology around the plumbing of finance.
Good morning, y'all, and welcome back to my channel. Thank y'all so much for tapping back in to see what I have to say. And with that being said, what are we talking about? We're talking about Quant Network in this one, okay, you guys? But before we get too deep, I want to thank all of you for liking, for subscribing, for commenting. Y'all rock. Y'all truly do. I appreciate you, okay, you guys? But Quant Network, okay? We're hopping into the European diaspora yet again, okay? Now, we already know about Quant Network in the digital euro. We're working with the ECB, the European Central Bank, okay? We've already went over that. But now I want you to think about this. Think about Quant Network in the UK. Think about them working on the digital pound. And now they have the live deployment of the digital assets, the digital deposits inside of the tokenized deposits, as they call them, inside of the banks in the UK, right? Now we know they've publicly been named in the digital euro. It's only gonna be a matter of time before it's gonna be live tokenized deposits in euro, right? But think about it. Right after the digital pound things were talked about in the news, what happened? Quant Network came out with a whole press release with who? BlackRock and who? The London Stock Exchange. Doing what? Tokenizing the markets, you guys. Now understand, this thing I'm going to hop into from my boy NCash Official is talking about just that. The markets of now, the EU, $20 trillion worth of it getting ready to be tokenized. And understand, Quant Network is right there with something called Quant Net, making it a reality. Tied back to the global standard, Overledger, their software as a service. Okay, you guys, we're going to hop into this first article. Come from my boy, NCash Official, and I will be right back.
Tokenization has been one of the biggest topics that I have talked about over the last, year or so. Because again, we are hearing from some of the biggest names around finance, from banks to institutional players, organizations, global organizations around the banking sector, like the BIS, even the IMF. They have been telling us that tokenization is the future. Everything is going to be tokenized. Even BlackRock's Larry Fink told us every single financial asset will be tokenized. And more recently, if we're looking at some of the articles going back to even just September, we did hear from Clearstream saying, hey, we are looking at this roadmap and it's a 20 trillion euro roadmap. And it's starting with digitized euro bonds. 20 trillion euros. Deutsche Börse's Clearstream and Euroclear have collaborated on a data standard to digitize the 14 trillion euro bond market, targeting digital issuance from Q1 of 2026. It feels as if 2026 is going to be the start for a lot of these major tokenization moves, which I'm very excited about. Because again, if we're looking at a lot of the assets that are on Clearstream's platform, it's 20 trillion euros. This is just from one name, by the way. Like, it's kind of crazy to think about how much value is out there in the world when we look at crypto and we think like, oh, hey, a $3 trillion market cap for crypto is pretty significant, right? But it's barely scratching the surface of how much money is out there. That's why when we look at these names that have this massive roadmap for, tokenization efforts, and it's in the, tens of trillions of dollars, I keep saying like, listen, we are seriously just in the beginning phase of what's to come for crypto, especially for utility-based projects. Now, QNT, is in a very interesting position because, again, of what Quant is offering, it's a big deal for tokenization itself. Now, we'll get to that here in a moment, but if we're looking at all of the values here, going back to February of this year, we did hear from Security Token Market, which forecasted a $30 trillion value in asset tokenization by 2030. This is led by stocks, real estate, bonds, and gold. And then more recently, we did hear from BCG and Ripple. They predicted an $18.9 trillion market by 2033. Obviously, these numbers are going to change over time. And even right now, if we're looking at the space for tokenization, like the full-on push here, because this is outside of just like public networks, we also have other platforms here as well.
Now, guys, understand, that's a lot of money. It's a lot of money that's getting ready to flow through the ledgers of the distributed ledger technology sector. More money than most of retail can even fathom, to begin to comprehend. Okay, you guys? And that's just 20 trillion coming from that European area. Now think of like the DTC talking about bringing on 100 trillion. And you've had different banks like BNY Mellon talk about other trillions. And you've had all of these predictions and all of these announcements talking about trillions of dollars being tokenized, trillions of dollars being brought into the distributed ledger technology sector. You have a player like Quant Network providing critical infrastructure for making that a global, regulatory, cybersecurity, safe and resilient reality, you guys. Truly understand and see everything that Quant Network has going on globally. And for those, and even think about even Gilbert's resume. What is a part of his resume? He sat on what? The European Commission or Union, or I think it's the European Commission, whatever that title of their European body is. It's on his resume. He's right there. He's not only right there providing infrastructure as far as his technology, but he's also there providing infrastructure as far as his input, having a seat at the table with the regulators and the central banks of Europe. This is the reason why something like that SEPA is so important. If you don't know what that is, it stands for Single Euro Payments Area. Quant is making SEPA a reality. Understand what's happening right now, okay, you guys? But if you have any shadow of a doubt, if Quant is tied to the the EU, here is this video. Come on, boy, NCash Official, and I will be right back.
On May 5th, the ECB, the European Central Bank, announced that Quant was selected to work on the ECB's digital euro project as a pioneer partner. Now, when we think about this and we go over here to the official announcements, number one, we scroll down and we know that over the last 5 years, they have built a strong portfolio of deep industry expertise in secure payments infrastructure, orchestration, and interoperability of DLT and non-DLT payment rails, settlement of all forms of money, including tokenized money, commercial bank deposits, and settlement systems in distributed, centralized, and unified ledger models. That unified ledger models is definitely a focus because of the unified ledger that the BIS has been pushing for a little bit of time now. Overledger. So this kind of pertains back to the whole Project Rosalind thing because this was the main platform that was utilized. Overledger, build, deploy, and manage multi-chain applications with ease. And this is the focus because we know the future is not just about XRP moving every single dollar in the world. No, it's multi-chain. So cross-border payments will not just be moving over to the XRP ledger. Cross-border payments will be probably split between 2, 3, 4, 5 different networks. That's why this multi-chain future is so crucial to focus on. And this is also why Quant is a big enabler of this because we've been hearing from players like the BIS or the IMF or other, big players as well that have been telling us it's a multi-chain future. We're ushering into a multi-chain future. Now, on this Overledger page, we also have for seamless orchestration between multiple blockchains. And there you have it, right? Multiple blockchains, which means any big enterprise or institutional player can now tap into Hedera for, we'll say, tokenization services. And then they could tap into the XRP ledger for payment use cases. They have the power to do that now because of this multi-chain push. Overledger is a universal API connector that ensures secure interoperability between traditional financial systems and blockchain networks. It connects digital money assets, existing payment rails, banking infrastructures, financial applications, and the blockchain ecosystem. Our developer-friendly APIs allow you to efficiently integrate blockchain capabilities into your applications with these key benefits: multi-chain interoperability, cross-chain transactions, multi-chain smart contract execution, scalability and performance, and then security and compliance. All of this makes Overledger so crucial to focus on because of that multi-chain push behind this. The fact that any blockchain, private, public, or both, right, could easily tap in to Overledger and be plug and played, and also now become interoperable with any other network. We're not just talking about crypto networks, we're talking also about public networks. But on top of that, we go over here to Project Rosalind's core API layer. This is identical to what the original Overledger diagram looked like. We have on the left side the smart contracts, the central bank ledger layer. On the bottom, we have the Quant Overledger and then the CBDC API as well, followed by the service provider layer. But this is exactly what Quant wants to do, where you could have specific DLT APIs and use cases around DLT also tapped in. And this is pretty much enabling that multi-chain future around specific API use cases or specific services that they, any big bank or enterprise, whatever the case may be, wants.
And understand, you guys, you just saw it from my boy NCash. Those interoperable APIs that Overledger produces, this is what they're tapping into. This is what the Bank of England is tapping into. This is what the Federal Reserve is tapping into. This is what the Bank of Canada is tapping into. This is what the Bank of Australia, alongside of hedera, is tapping into. Quant Network's Overledger interoperable APIs being integrated into the central banking infrastructure of companies and being ingrained into the usage of the commercial banks that reside within those jurisdictions. Y'all, what Quant Network is pulling off is second to none. Second to none, you guys. This is going to be a historic time in the realm of Web3. Once all of these things, let's just get through 2025. Let's start the process in this roadmap of 2026, which is coming up in just a couple weeks. Let's process through 2026 and let's see where we go as 2027 comes into fruition. Because these things that are now being cemented into countries' regulations will be live, active, thriving units by 2027, 2028, 2029. Now we at the opening of the digital euro per Christine Lagarde's timeline.
I have good news for you on the digital euro front. Today, the Governing Council has decided to move ahead on the next and final phase of the preparatory work for the digital euro. The other good news is that on October 23rd, the European Council has asked us and all those involved to accelerate the process so that we can roll out the digital euro as early as possible. More work is going to be done in the next few months, and if we receive the approval by the European Parliament in the course of 26, we'll be able to pilot the digital euro as of 27. And if the pilot is conclusive and positive, it will be a formal rollout in the whole of Europe in 2029. This
2030 and beyond. Truly understand and see what's happening right now. We'll hop into this very next video and I will be right back.
QNT has one of the hardest, strictest, most unchangeable supply caps in the entire crypto industry. No inflation, no minting, no increasing supply, no dilution, ever. That means every QNT you hold is a fixed piece of a network that is designed to scale globally. Think about that. Most cryptos inflate over time. Most increase supply to reward validators or pay incentives. Most dilute. QNT does not. QNT cannot. And when something cannot be diluted, its future value isn't about hype. It's about usage. Imagine the world actually reaches the point where banks, governments, fintechs, and enterprises are all running systems through some form of interoperable layer. Imagine thousands of institutions using QNT licenses. Imagine Overledger gateways operating worldwide. Imagine real-world assets being tokenized at scale, not in theory, but in practice. Now imagine the value of a token with a tiny supply and massive utility demand. Suddenly, holding one QNT doesn't feel symbolic. It feels strategic. But most retail investors miss this. They scroll past QNT because the chart isn't mooning every 2 weeks. They prefer the coins that shout. QNT whispers. But the world is shaped more by quiet, unstoppable infrastructure than by loud speculation. And if you're holding QNT, you're aligned with infrastructure, not noise. And here's the part that gets people emotional when it finally clicks. You don't need 50. You don't need 100. You don't need a bag so heavy you can't sleep. Even one QNT gives you exposure to a future that is not built on hype cycles, but on global transformation. Holding one token in a fixed supply ecosystem tied to real utility, tied to government-grade systems, tied to enterprise frameworks, tied to the digital future of finance, that is not small. That is not irrelevant. That is not a joke. It's positioning. And positioning is the difference between people who react to the market and people who get ahead of it. You might not realize it, but if you've been holding even a single QNT, you've been positioning yourself in a way that the majority of the market won't understand until it's too late. Because while everyone else is distracted by noise, you're sitting on something that could become foundational. And foundations don't explode overnight. They grow quietly, then suddenly. That's the moment we're approaching. The moment where the world wakes up. The moment where interoperability isn't niche anymore, it's required. The moment where systems need Overledger, and the supply of QNT does not change. And if you're holding even one, you're part of that next chapter in a way that most people won't understand until the door has already closed. There's something people completely miss when they look at Quant. They stare at the price, they stare at the chart, they stare at the market cap. But they never stop to ask the real question. Why does owning even one QNT matter? And honestly, that question flips everything. Because when you zoom out, when you really look beneath the noise, you start to realize that QNT isn't trying to be another coin. It's not trying to be a faster Bitcoin. It's not trying to be a cheaper Ethereum. It's not trying to be a better Solana. Quant is becoming infrastructure. Infrastructure for money. Infrastructure for banks. Infrastructure for digital assets. Infrastructure for governments. And here's the crazy twist. You don't need 50 QNT. You don't need 20. You don't even need 5. For some people, even one QNT might put them in a better position than 99% of retail investors who are chasing hype coins that will disappear in 2 years.
Now with that video, you guys, that was just for some hope and some inspiration, because I know sometimes price action is not the best. I know sometimes, it seems like Quant is the only one that don't pump. It's the only one that haven't done a 40x or 50x or 200x or 4000x. Y'all, Quant's day is coming. And it's a little bit, I saw that video and I thought I would throw that clip in here, because it just gives you just a little bit of, if this is what AI computes when it thinks of Quant Network, after it searches the database of all the databases in the world, this is what it comes up with, then you know that the information that is being disseminated is something incredible. Truly understand and see what's happening right now in 2025, where you have something like a Quant Network working alongside of a European central bank, working alongside of literally tokenizing the markets of that country as well. You guys, like things like with SIA and with Nexi. I got a video coming out about Quant Network. They're working open partnership with SIA and Nexi and their European structure as well. Follow me on this, okay, you guys? Quant Network is incredible. The ecosystem they have built out, the customer base that they have now captured, is incredible, you guys, because by capturing their customer base, it captures every single individual in the country. Do y'all like it's y'all? It really truly is incredible what Quant Network has pulled off. And owning QNT, a piece of the network, the thing that powers everything that Quant Network has built on top of their interoperable blockchain platform, Overledger.
Overledger platform from Quant establishes a new benchmark for blockchain interoperability and ease of use. As a low-code enterprise-grade platform, Overledger empowers you to deploy, connect, and develop on any blockchain quickly and simply. With Overledger, you can generate an interoperable digital asset with just a few clicks, create secure smart contracts that can execute on any blockchain without having to hire a team of experts. And you can use its advanced APIs to integrate with your systems and manage your assets on multiple chains. We believe that the blockchain economy should be simple, trusted, and future-proof. These are our principles and the genesis of Overledger Platform, the enterprise standard for building on blockchain.
Y'all, the future, y'all, is so bright. Like, for real. But I'm not gonna hold y'all too much longer on this one. I truly, I thank y'all for tuning in, and I thank y'all for tapping in. And if you made it all the way through this entire video, type in 20 trillion euro, because that 20 trillion euro that the EU is getting ready to bring into the realm of distributed ledger technologies via tokenization of those assets, y'all, is incredible. And to understand that Quant Network is right there with QuantNet, giving them the space they need to be successful in their processes. Y'all, for real, this is bananas. But until the next time, y'all already know. Type in 20 trillion euro. That way I know you made it all the way through this entire video. You rock with your boy to the end. I appreciate you. Peace out.